How the pandemic has affected finances at local hospitals. We'll break down some do's and don'ts you need to know before hitting the polls next week.
PSU has received a $146,000 grant aimed at getting workers displaced by COVID-19 back on the job. You'll learn how they're doing it coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We're learning more about the pandemic's financial impact on local hospitals. This is KOAM News at 10. KOAM's Caitlin Shive spoke with Mercy and Freeman hospitals in Joplin to get an update on how the pandemic has affected them.
As people continue seeking care during the COVID-19 pandemic, the fight against the virus is impacting local hospitals financially.
Our measurement of revenues is about a $15 million reduction, simply because we had a period of time where patients were putting off their tests, they weren't getting out, things of that nature, but that's been the impact.
Both Freeman and Mercy hospitals in Joplin are experiencing a loss of revenue this year due to the pandemic, in part to the postponement of non-emergency procedures and the additional resources needed of equipment and staff.
It's obviously had its impact with the loss of revenues, but we're well equipped. Level 2 trauma center. We are prepared for what we need to do. We have adapted our rooms so that we can have 2 COVID units within the hospital. We have 1 in our ICU. We have 1 on our medical floor. But that's allowed us to be prepared. We're a large enough system that we just adapted.
Mercy Hospital officials said in a statement that the postponement of non-emergency services earlier this year has had a significantly negative financial impact on Mercy and virtually every healthcare provider in the country. And in addition, the cost of caring for those without insurance, of whom there are more than usual due to job losses, often isn't reimbursed. Chief Financial Officer Steve Grady with Freeman added that the federal government's relief funds have helped out, but things continue to change all the time.
We are blessed that the federal government provided some relief to hospitals early on in the onset of COVID, which allowed us to replace PPE and to not worry about the financial piece of COVID. Now, the rules of that continue to change. There were rules in April, there's rules in September, another update in October. So it'll be months before we know what the true outcome of those relief funds and what we can retain to put towards the COVID relief.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
You can find Mercy Hospital's full statement on our website, koamnewsnow.com. Schools in Missouri are getting their own supply of COVID-19 tests. Federal government has sent the state almost 2 million rapid COVID-19 tests. 60% of those will go to schools in the state. Those include the Joplin School District, which received dozens of test kits today and will end up getting more than 7,000. At first, the district will use them for staff and teachers who show symptoms.
These tests do not take the place of any of our safety protocols that are in place now. We're still watching our mask requirements. We're still cohorting our student groups. This just gives us another tool in our tool belt.
Freeman Health System received rapid tests around 2 weeks ago, but Freeman says not as many as they requested or could use. Doug Hetty joins us now. It's still wet out there, Doug.
It is. It's been wet for several days now, and we still have tonight and a good chunk of tomorrow to get through. Also, it's been very cold, but at least we're above freezing, so we didn't have to worry about any ice across any part of the 4-state area for us today. 36, 44 were the numbers, but you can see the light showers and some pockets of moderate showers continue to rotate in, and this is going to continue really all night long. Where you see the yellows, that is showing us more moderate rain, so we have a pretty good batch that is rolling in from Columbus, Miami into the Joplin Metro, and that's going to be really over the next couple hours. Let's go through time. I can go through this pretty quickly. 5, 6, 7 a.m. It just continues to rain. It doesn't even move out anytime soon. It's going to be here for at least the next 12 hours. Mid-40s right now. Temps are going to hold steady. The winds are kind of strong out of the north at about 5 to 15. These will pick up just a bit. When's the rain going to stop? What about Halloween? We'll look at that here in a bit.
All right, catch you then. Voting is well underway in a lot of places and ends in less than a week. We spoke with some local officials on things you need to know when you're heading to the polls. Voter turnout is expected to be high this year, so officials say expect long lines and be prepared to wait. Say it's also important to be mindful of those around you. Officials say they're also encouraging masks or face shields although they want to remind people they can't enforce a mask mandate. There's also a small change the way you'll vote in Jasper County.
We will be using the styluses this year that everybody will be taking home with them. We do not want them back. And when you look at the way that the polls are going to be, everybody should be able to have the ability to vote without having to touch anything in the polling location except for the ballot.
We've also added some resources in case you fear election fraud or that you think your rights have been violated. You can find that information on our website, koamnewsnow.com. U.S. Senate candidate Roger Marshall and U.S. Representative candidate Jake LaTurner campaigned in Pittsburgh today. They talked to voters about multiple issues, including policing. With recent incidents of violence involving police officers, there have been calls to change the way officers are trained. Marshall says he believes that Kansas is doing a good job training officers, but thinks there is room for improvement.
Kansas is one of 5 states that requires an extra 40 hours per year of their officers for increased training. We already have programs for accountability as well. And those programs are working. Is there room to get better? Of course. And then I'm encouraging them also to hire more minorities as well.
LaTurner is facing off against Michelle De La Isla in the 2nd District congressional race. Marshall is vying for Pat Roberts' seat against Democrat Barbara Bollier. President Trump is spending the night in his property in Doral, Florida, after a busy day of campaigning in Arizona. Meanwhile, the Democratic presidential candidate, Joe Biden, continues to take swipes at the president's handling of the COVID pandemic, with less than a week now until Election Day. Skylar Henry reports from the White House.
President Trump held 2 campaign stops in Arizona Wednesday to court Latino voters.
The American Dream Plan will bring more than 2 million new jobs to Hispanic communities, create over 500,000 new Hispanic-owned small businesses.
Democratic vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris also hit the Copper State.
In the spirit of John McCain, I am a proud, patriotic American.
Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden made a surprise appearance at a virtual town hall hosted by Oprah Winfrey.
I've said we're in a battle for the soul of America.
The former vice president spent the day in Wilmington, Delaware, where he voted early and publicly sparred with the president over the coronavirus pandemic.
We've lost more than 220,000 lives of this virus already, but this administration has just given up.
A safe vaccine is coming very quickly. You're going to have it momentarily. That eradicates the virus, and we're rounding the turn.
The 2 candidates also spoke out over the unrest in Philadelphia after an African-American man named Walter Wallace Jr. was shot and killed by police this past Monday.
You can't allow that to happen. We're watching it very closely, and we're waiting for a call. If they want help, we're there.
There is no excuse whatsoever for the looting and the violence.
Meanwhile, the White House says former DHS official Miles Taylor is a, quote, low-level, disgruntled former staffer after he revealed he is anonymous.
Turned out to be a low-level staffer, a sleazebag.
Taylor, seen here in a political ad endorsing Joe Biden, wrote op-eds for the New York Times and a book criticizing President Trump. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Vice President Mike Pence also held rallies in Wisconsin and Michigan today. The U.S. Supreme Court is rejecting a bid by Pennsylvania Republicans to fast-track a ruling on mail-in ballots. Justices today denied a Republican request for an expedited review. At issue was the state's decision that allows ballots to be counted up to 3 days after the election, even if there's no legible postmark. The Supreme Court's rejection means Pennsylvania's mail-in ballot rule stands. The Supreme Court today also allowed the counting of ballots received up to 9 days after the election in North Carolina. The ballots must be postmarked by Election Day. New Justice Amy Coney Barrett took no part in either decision. Still ahead, how a grant could help Pitt State get COVID-19 displaced workers back on the job. And our 4 states' boxing legacy continues with a new generation. PSU has received a $146,000 grant that'll help both students and locals whose jobs have been displaced due to the coronavirus pandemic. KOAM's Mike Mahoney paid a visit to Pitt State's Kansas Technology Center to learn more.
COVID-19 has cost a lot of people their jobs, but the experts at PSU say that's not the case in the plastics industry.
During this time of COVID and all this, the plastics industry is really actually booming because of the valuable necessity of the plastic product.
Pitt State and the Kansas Department of Commerce would like to see four-staters down on their luck from the pandemic grab a well-paying plastics job that can pay anywhere from $42,000 to $68,000 a year. That's why the Kansas Department of Commerce has awarded PSU's Plastics Engineering Technology program with a $146,000 grant, which the college will use to buy new equipment and create some focused 2 to 5 day long workshops that will help displaced workers receive college credit towards a plastics degree.
If you think about it, you look around, plastic products are everywhere, and somebody has to be able to design and produce those plastic products. And we're fortunate that we're one of a handful of programs in the United States that actually have a plastics engineering technology program.
Faculty and staff at PSU's Kansas Technology Center are especially excited about the grant because the new equipment purchased by it will help multiple groups of people.
Usually it's students. We're trying to help them get through a 4-year process to get good, high-paying jobs. In this case, it's nice to know that we have the ability to make an immediate impact to somebody that's lost their job.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
The chair of PSU's Engineering Technology Department hopes the plastics workshops will be up and running sometime in early 2021. The Joplin Sports Authority says it wants to be a part of the conversation when it comes to who will operate some Joplin ball fields. A company called Parkwood is asking the city to let them take control of several fields, including Joe Becker Stadium. They would use them to host a number of baseball tournaments. The Joplin Sports Authority says they can do it better.
Ours would, potentially benefit the city more financially, and Parkwood, they are a for-profit, so it's going to benefit them as well. So we're just looking for the chance to do our jobs and do it well.
The Sports Authority plans to ask the council to give them some time to come up with their own offer. A little bit later on KOAM News at 10, volleyball and a whole lot of it as area schools compete for district championships.
And a whole lot of rain over the past couple days. How long is it going to stick around? We're going to look at that coming up. Of course, wet once again for us today and cold, but at least our temperature is warmed out of the 30s, so we didn't have to worry about any of us picking up any ice like we have had to over the past couple days. In fact, southeastern Kansas, our northwestern counties picked up a decent amount of ice, enough to down some power lines and even snap some trees over the past couple days. That's all gone, thankfully. We're looking at the cloudy skies, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, rainfall so far, almost an inch for us today, so over 3 for the month. For the year, over 40 inches of rain. Still raining right now. It's been raining for about 12 hours. 44 northerly winds at about 5. Humidity is at 96%. Everybody around the metro is mainly sitting into the mid-40s. We're going to hold pretty steady as we work through the overnight hours for us tonight. We may drop off a degree or two, but that should be just about it. Light northerly winds, these are going to pick up a bit tonight and then again into the daytime hours for us tomorrow. We still have the flood watches in effect, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and extreme southwestern Missouri, just due to the amount of rain that we have seen over the past couple days. And you can see it's still just kind of pushing in. We're starting to get into the calm ahead, so the backside of the storm system. But where you see the greens, that's mainly light rain. Where you see the yellows, that is moderate rain. You can see a moderate band really from Yates Center, Iola through Chanute, Erie, Parsons, Oswego, Columbus, moving into Pittsburgh, has moved out of Miami and then into the southwest side of Joplin, all the way down toward Pineville, Knoll, and Anderson. But this whole storm system wrapping up, it's right across Oklahoma. So we're in that backside, and it's called a comma head because if you look, it literally looks like a comma in the main system right out across western parts of Oklahoma. Until it passes through, we're going to have the rain. So we're going to have bands of rain tonight. After midnight, the heaviest will be in our northern counties. Our southern counties will kind of go off to a light drizzle, and then it kind of rotates back in. So rain picks up after 3, 4 o'clock in the morning into the morning hours, and then slowly starts to rotate out of here by mid to late morning. I think by the afternoon, most of the rain is going to be gone. but temperatures, they're still going to be cold as the clouds stick around all day long. Plus, it's going to be windy, so that'll make it feel colder. 43 by noon, high temp of 45. We start to clear out at least a little bit tomorrow night. Temperatures cold, near freezing, so we're going to have to watch that. We'll get a frost, but we see improvements. By the time we head into Friday, sunshine returns. We go into the upper 50s for highs, which, hey, we'll definitely take. Still some decent amounts of rain for us tonight into tomorrow morning. I think an additional inch, maybe even an inch and a half in some areas, so that's why we've had the flash flooding concerns. And then as we go into the weekend, of course, Saturday is Halloween. Kind of a cool start, but as we head into the afternoon, we go into the 60s. So that's pretty good. We really rebound over the next couple days. Morning rain, afternoon clouds, 45, 59 on Friday. Halloween, 63, so that's pretty good. Now, I have no idea if kids are trick-or-treating this year. I don't know what's going on with COVID, but if you are, it's going to be chilly, but not too bad. Dry, sitting into the 50s. We drop back Saturday night an hour, 54 on Sunday, and then 60s again. Next week, Tuesday, voting day, looks great. Partly sunny, 67.
That's good to see. All kinds of trick-or-treating plans out there, some involving social distancing and all sorts of safety measures people are taking. Thanks, Doug. Still had a rivalry matchup for the volleyball Class 4 District 11 crown in Missouri. Webb City takes on Carl Junction, and we have the highlights. And Joplin and Carthage face off, vying for a spot in their district championship against Lee Summit.
Well, tonight is district championship night for Missouri High School volleyball. We have a good one tonight in Webb City. We've got a rivalry matchup for the Class 4 District 11 title. Webb City faces Carl Junction tonight for a spot in the state bracket. CJ 2-0 this year against the Cardinals. However, Webb City got them for the district title last year. In the first, Logan Jones, nice touch for Carl Junction. Other side, Abigail Stork puts it down for Webb City. But it will be CJ claiming the first set. Jillian Kennedy, one of her 4 blocks on the night. Bulldogs 25-19 in the first set. The second set, Jessa Hilton, she was really good tonight for Carl Junction, had 16 kills. CJ takes set 2, 25-19. So they try to close it out in 3. Salma Lewis, perfect shot to the corner. Lewis and Hilton really close this thing out. Big block there from Hilton. Back to Lewis now. She had a team high 23 kills tonight. A match point, of course, it's Salma Lewis finishing the job. Carl Junction does it in straight sets tonight. The Bulldogs are Class 4 District 11 champs.
It was super exciting, and we were really glad to do it again since we lost to Webb City last year, so it was a big accomplishment for us.
It feels so good. We were definitely looking for some redemption, and we got it this year. We worked so hard this season. I think coming together as a team, we really pulled it off well, and I'm so happy for us.
Tonight is also championship night at the Class 5 District 12 tournament in Carthage. First, though, we got to find out who's playing in that championship. The hometown Tigers face Joplin in the semifinals to begin the night. Winner gets Lee Summit West in the championship. In the first, Joplin's Aubrey Ritter. A little power behind that one. On the other side, Sydney Dodolski drops the hammer, but it's Joplin closing out the first. Allie Lawrence goes cross court for the kill. Eagles get the first set 25-22. Joplin kept it rolling. Third set. Big time block by Emma Floyd and Angelina Schramm. Part of an 8-1 Joplin run. The Eagles sweep Carthage to advance to the finals. So here we go, Joplin and Lee Summit. This is for the Class 5 District 12 championship. Strong start for the Titans. Ashley Brees places it in the far corner. A few moments later this time, Carrot and Kirkpatrick cross court for the kill. Lee Summit up 5. Joplin tries to stay in it. Aubrey Ritter gets up and drills it. Eagles, though, drop the first set 25-10. Joplin falls in straight sets to Lee Summit West. The Eagles end the season with a 15-15 overall record. Well, after a successful career in the ring, local boxer Jesse Cook is ready to share what he's learned with the next generation of fighters. We caught up with Cook as he transitions to the next phase of his career in boxing. Jesse Cook is seeing boxing from a different perspective.
I was missing boxing, wanted another area to put my focus in and still be involved in it, and it was a good area for me to stay involved and have a lot of fun doing it.
Cook was 18-1-2 as a fighter. After a successful career in the ring, Cook is now in the corner as a coach and trainer.
Teaching what I've learned from my dad through all these years, so it just comes natural. My dad was a good trainer, good teacher, so I'm just passing it along.
He's kind of moving on with life, but he has a love enough for boxing that he wants to do something with it, so coaching's the next step.
Cook is currently training his first fighter, Cameron Roan.
I've watched him fight, pretty tenacious in the ring, and just seeing that glory of winning, the look on his face, I just wanted to feel it, be a part of it.
Got a lot of drive, a lot of determination. He's very coachable. He retains everything I tell him.
Roan will fight for the first time this weekend in the KC Golden Gloves Regional Championship.
I feel good about it all, putting in this work and staying focused. A little nervous at the same time, but I hear that's normal, so I feel good about it all.
For Cook, his focus is on this weekend, not knowing what the future will hold.
For now, I'm just sticking with training him. I'm not bringing any other fighters on. We'll just see where it goes from there. I might pick up more in the future, help my dad out when he needs it.
This weekend's KC Golden Gloves Regional Championship will be live streamed on the KC Golden Gloves YouTube channel. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time to honor a local veteran. Gunners Mate 3rd Class Harold Gray, the Altamont, Kansas native, served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. We're proud to salute Gunners Mate 3rd Class Harold Gray, tonight's four-state hero. Checking back with Doug Heddy.
All right, the rain continues tonight, and then through the morning hours. By the afternoon, we'll start to dry out, but staying cloudy and cold.
See you back here tomorrow. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.